All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the VetRise podcast. Today I have a guest on. This is actually one of my all-star, rock star, OG clients, Savannah Munding. We have had her husband on the podcast before, Steven, and we've been trying to get on the podcast as well just because I want to be able to share her story. Her story is pretty amazing, and we're also going to talk about her experience in the VetRise Academy. So make sure you guys listen in, take notes, and just remember, if she can do it, you can freaking do it too. All right, here we go. Welcome to the VetRise podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez. My goal is to make success after service accessible to every veteran in society. I believe in the power of leveraging your service, not as a label that defines you, but as a launching pad for your next chapter. What we have been doing has not been working, and it's on us to start changing the culture. Enjoy the episode, and thank you for your time. So, Savannah, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. I would love to hear more about your story. So, first off, I want to ask, how are you doing right now in the Academy? Before we dive into who you are, how do you feel like you're doing so far in the VetRise Academy?
I feel like I'm doing wonderful. I'm back on track. Changed up my morning routine, now going to the gym at 5 a.m. Monday through Thursday, and logging my meals and remembering that I have to log my meals to stay on track and not just winging it because that cookie can throw me over. Kind of just living in my app right now, making sure I'm showing up for myself Mondays and Thursdays, or, sometimes those days change, but those coaching calls are there for a reason. And I know that whatever is coming out, even if I didn't need to hear it that day, I probably needed to hear it within the last couple months.
Yeah. So you've been with us for a while now. I believe it's since February, if I'm not mistaken. And your journey has been pretty freaking amazing, because I remember when you joined initially, it wasn't for you. It was for your husband. And then I made a video and you heard it. Do you remember what that video was?
Yeah, that was my very offended video of making sure that I'm living for myself and not my kids. And I got really hurt by that.
Yeah. I think I said something along the lines of, your kids should be the reason you take care of yourself.
Yeah, and they were my excuse.
Yeah. I want to share that a lot of times, some of the videos I make, it's what I'm going through. It's the things that are coming up for me. And at that point, I remember I was living out of my bedroom. I was still going through the divorce, and I would have my kids roughly half of the time, but we were living out of one bedroom. And I remember telling myself, like, well, right now, this is the time when I have to focus my efforts more than ever before on my kids being the reason I take care of myself, so that when I come out of this, I'm not in a dark place. And I'm glad to know that video hit home for you.
Yeah, because when I first met you, you were on a Zoom call with my husband, and he said, would you like to ask him any questions? And I said, no, I don't have time for him. I have too many kids. And you responded with, well, they need to be your reason, not your excuse.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, that guy really got under my skin. And he said, good. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But like I said in a live with you the other day, is my kids will forever be grateful for me joining this program. They may not know it now, but 10 years from now, I definitely parented from the couch this time last year.
Yeah. So we'll dive into that. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit, but I want to kind of find out who you are, right? So I would love to ask a little bit more about you. So let me start by asking, over the last 10 years or 15 years, whatever you would like to share with us, kind of just lay out the groundwork of who you were and kind of what you became, right? So like, I want to know a little bit more about you. I'm sure everybody listening would love to know more about you so they can connect with you a little bit. That's how we do it here.
So I was born in a very small town in Indiana. I was a competitive gymnast from the time I could walk to the time I graduated high school. I moved out here in 2017. I was married to an active soldier at the time. We decided to go our separate ways. and I met my husband now. I had all of my kiddos in my hometown. I have 3 kiddos, and when I met my husband, he had 2. And so we were stationed at Fort Riley, my ex-husband and I, for about 5 years. Mm-hmm. And then we decided to go our separate ways. And then that's when I met my husband now. And we moved out here. I had a pretty good childhood, always in the gymnastics gym, always on the cheer squad. I was always doing something, never sat down. I'm 1 out of 8 kids. I am the second youngest. Probably the most active to this day in my entire family. They all laugh at me now. They all call me a gym rat. So nothing's really changed there because I was a gym rat in a different form.
Yeah.
When I moved to Kansas, I was probably the biggest I had ever been. Just because I got lost in motherhood a little bit. Going back to when I grew up, my ex-husband and I were actually high school sweethearts. We met at a game that I was cheering at and kind of just got complacent over life. Just kind of felt like we were doing this for everybody but ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we have 2 kids together, and we're still friends. I don't have anything bad to say when it comes to, we've all made our mistakes and all made our choices. But, looking back now, all of those choices brought me here.
Yeah.
But if you were to ask me this a year ago, you probably would have gotten a lot more spiteful, bitter behavior.
So let's talk about that, right? So some of the biggest changes that you've made obviously have been physical, right? Mm-hmm. How much weight have you lost in the program?
So I started with working out. I was 187 this time last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm about 150.
Wow. Okay. And you have made a really big physical transformation. Yeah. However, one of the biggest things that I've realized with you while I've been coaching you is the fact that your mindset has transformed the most. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
And you're not a veteran.
No, I'm married to a veteran, but never served a day.
And I like that because the point of what I'm doing is to help veterans see that they are a part of society, that we are here now, and that we have to learn not just how to adapt, but how to become a full functioning member of society, which is why I enjoy having people in my program who are not veterans, because that's the point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that veterans come back into society and remove that line in the sand. And I think what I enjoy most about being able to coach people in the program who are not veterans, which we have a whole group of people that aren't veterans, is the fact that the changes you're making are not just physical, but their mindset changes. Everybody deals with this. It is not just veterans. The problems that we talked about are not exclusive to veterans. It is something that everyone deals with. The identity, the purpose, the mission, all of it. And I want to ask you, what do you feel has been the biggest thing that has changed for you as far as mindset, the way that your perspective has shifted from the way that you saw yourself to how you see yourself now? And why don't we start by talking about how you used to see yourself, the things that you used to say about yourself, the way that you kind of just understood what your life to be, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So this time last year, I had asked for a divorce because I was living in the way that other people were treating me rather than how I wanted to be treated. And I was eating my emotions and he was drinking his. And then we were just in an ongoing roundabout. And the month of December last year, he sent me probably like, I still have all the texts, probably 50 of your TikToks, and said, just listen to this guy. And I took it as not only is this person reaching to him, but now he's able to tell me how he feels through somebody else. And so I didn't realize sometimes the things that I was saying were hurtful because they were coming out hateful. And I was listening to react instead of listening to understand him.
Yeah.
And I realized I did the same thing to my kids. My child came up to me and said, Mom, I have a problem. Great. What now? Instead of, can you tell me more? I wasn't listening to understand anybody. And I was in a very dark place the last 3 years. And when you're married to someone who has PTSD and the nightmares constantly, you're making sure that everything that you're doing, you're kind of walking on eggshells. And that's what we were doing the last couple of years. And a lot of it was just like a ticking time bomb. I was treating him as if he were my ex-husband, and he was treating me as if I was his ex-wife. And then getting mad at each other for not giving wife and husband behavior because we were, kind of projecting that toxicity onto each other.
Yeah. That resonates with me a lot. Why? Well, because I did the same thing. When we don't change who we are before we go into another relationship, we just repeat the same mistakes because we attract who we are, right? And I think that when we attract who we are, we can attract someone who's going through a very similar trauma, and before we know it, we're having the same issues again. I think that inherently we want to attract a better partner by being better ourselves, but sometimes we don't do that. So the solution to that problem, in my opinion, and if you feel like this resonates with you, please let me know. But I think the solution to that problem, in my opinion, is that we have to work on ourselves. But unless the other person also starts doing the work on themselves, someone gets left behind. Which is why, I enjoy having couples in the program, because they not only help each other by holding each other accountable and by working on this together, but if one person starts improving and the other one doesn't, I think that's when a lot of resentment and anger that has already probably been there spills over. Not just builds up, but it spills over. And I think that's when problems feel so insurmountable, so large, that we have trouble working together continuously. So when you both joined, I was super happy.
But that's why we joined together. What you just said is why we joined together.
Yeah. And you guys immediately renew. I mean, before you were even in for a little bit, you guys signed up for a year.
Yeah. You know why I signed up for a year too.
Share with me.
I am the type that would just say, oh, I got this from here. And I know that if I paid into this, I would get the payout. And I wanted that payout bad. Now I'm, changing the route of, I don't really care about the scale anymore. Now I want that butt. I want those abs. I want those thighs. And that may not resonate with the scale. That may not match the scale anymore. I'll still be nice to the scale, but that's why I joined with you for a year, is because we're in this together. And we didn't want anyone. Before I met you, I was just going to the gym and sitting there. And you're like, what are you doing when you get to the gym? And I'm like, nothing. Walking on the treadmill. I don't know. I was like a deer in headlights, and everybody's got 97 apps that you can use. I just need one.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, right? So now that you go to the gym, now you have a workout customized specifically for you, right? So you know exactly what you're doing. And obviously it gets harder and harder as you go through it. But do you feel the challenge at the same time? Do you feel that you're able to conquer it as you go through, even if it gets harder and harder?
Yeah. And I got lost in the cardio and realizing like, I really don't do that much cardio. Like, really? So I get excited when you're like, something's in here is new and I've never even touched this machine anymore.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, let's record this. So then in 6 months from now, when I'm rocking this machine, asking if I can stay on this machine for a couple more weeks because I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like going up in the weight. I like adding. Never did I think I'd be on people's lives saying, don't forget to lift weights. It'll be fun. And I enjoy lifting weights now. But I also feel like that brings me patience in other places. Instead of lifting the kids up out of bed, I'm lifting weights. I'm like, no, you get up out of bed. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I've already lifted a dumbbell. Come on.
New levels.
New devils.
Yeah. Say that one more time. New levels.
Bring new devils.
Absolutely. And I think people don't realize what that means. Sometimes I think they just mean I think people hear that and they think that, well, as they level up, there's going to be more challenges in their life and then they have to face them. But I think in reality, the devils have always been there. I just think that we have never addressed it because we feel like we can't. We feel like there's other stuff that is a priority. But the problems have always been there. Mm-hmm. It's just that we didn't have the capacity to address them.
Sometimes sweeping them under the rug made them look non-existent.
Exactly. So one of the things that we work on in the academy is as you level up, as you get consistent with the gym, we start looking at other areas of your life that you can make some changes in. Perhaps in the way that you talk to yourself, perhaps in the routines that you have, perhaps in the weekend that you decide you're going to let yourself grow a little bit. And we can start addressing these things. Perhaps it could be the relationships that you have, the friendships, the way that maybe we haven't established boundaries. So it's not that new levels necessarily bring new devils. It's just that new levels allow you to have more capacity to start addressing the devils in your life already that maybe you just haven't addressed because you felt like you couldn't. So let's talk about that. So like, what is one of the biggest things that you've realized that as you are working on yourself and doing this has given you more capacity to start addressing some of the problems in your life?
I don't have as many friends as I thought I did. I had more people at my table when I was sitting at a buffet, not taking care of myself.
I like that.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with realizing that, like, sometimes people are just FaceTime friends.
Wow.
And then, oh, where have you been? I enjoy getting text messages the past 2 days. I could never go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. I said one day, I can't wait to see you there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it.
But realizing like my friends are strangers at the gym that I joke with. My friends are the trainers that I walk by and they're like, dang, you're done with your workout? I just got here. And then they see me back at 9 o'clock with the kids because the pool's opened. But I never realized when you said this was a lonely journey. Mm-hmm. I think that's where, myself included, but people start to self-sabotage, is because I had more friends when I was in a toxic marriage. I had more friends when I was big and unhealthy.
Why do you think that is?
Because I don't think they were ever my friends to begin with. Now I have a couple people that are still rocking, like, I'm so proud of you. I love watching this. Sorry we haven't got to talk. Those are the people that I know that are my forever people.
Yeah.
But I have had 10 friends deleted in the past week.
Hell yeah.
And that makes me excited because I know I offended them. And I know they have some growth to do.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with not having the friends that I thought I had because that makes room for new friends.
Yes, it does.
But I also realized that some of my family even I don't talk to as much because I think that they miss lecturing me. And now I'm like, yeah, I know, bro. I got to work on that. I'll write it down. I'll put it in my Alexa. So, and then when the lecturing didn't need anymore.
Do you think people like to see you? Do you think that people enjoy seeing you as your old version because it makes them feel comfortable because they're also dealing with the same shit? So therefore they feel like, well, someone else is suffering with this as well. Someone else is struggling with this as well. And therefore, like, I'm okay. But if they see you doing better, it makes them uncomfortable because they start realizing that, well, how can she do it, but I can't? And then they start to come up with reasons or convincing themselves that, well, she has it easier because of this or that. And therefore that creates that kind of divide.
I do. I think a lot of my friends and some family, I think it's easier to say, I can't look at this anymore. This is just annoying, because what I'm changing is things that they should have changed as well. And it brings out their flaws.
Yeah.
And then now I'm making them feel insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to make anyone feel insecure, but I wish somebody would have said, do you really need that extra donut? Do you really need to go through the drive-thru?
Mm.
I wish I had someone, but now I do, and he's on the other end of this call. And now I've made a whole new circle of friends, of people that I've never even met before,
mm-hmm.
that are cheering me on. And my friends are just staying by and watching, and that's okay. I think complacency is easy. It's easy to complain and say, I can't. Believe me, I did not want to get up this morning. It was cold.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to.
To address what you said, the lonely journey, it's lonely until it's not. I think that people generally will try and busy themselves in different ways. And what I mean by busy themselves, I mean, yes, time-wise, do something so they feel productive, but also busy themselves with the people in their lives and allow noise and allow distractions, because then they don't have to work on themselves. But I think that when you start to do the work that you've been doing, I think that eventually some of those people at the table get up and leave because they see that you're making smarter decisions, like you said at the buffet, right? You're making smarter decisions, and it opens up some seats at the table for people to join you. And I think it's a lonely journey until it's not. I think we are not necessarily broken. I think we just have unmet needs. And I think that when you, Savannah, when you started working on your unmet needs, such as feeling purpose, feeling driven, feeling like you are actually making some real changes in your life, and feeling like you are becoming the mother that maybe you never had, I think that's when you start to realize like you are meeting your own needs and you need less people at your table because maybe they were meeting some of your needs before. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think they have to change with me.
Yeah. And if they don't,
then they just don't have a seat anymore. And
yes.
And I'm now okay with that because, looking at my kitchen table, it seats 8. We're a family of 7.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a whole lot of room for people who are just distractions.
Yeah.
I don't want people to say, well, one day I'll go to the gym. That was me 2 years ago. One day I'll go to the gym. I had a gym membership for like 6 months, didn't even use it because I didn't know that it was more than just the gym. It was the mindset. And honestly, I was living in yesterday's BS. I couldn't fix today. Someone really cool told me, we don't wake up and say it's yesterday. We don't wake up and say it's tomorrow. We wake up and say it's today. And I just can't get that out of my head now.
And today is what?
The best day ever.
Damn right.
So I'm really trying to be in the today and make sure that I'm being intentional. But 2 years ago, that's kind of when I realized that things were wrong. Things were wrong mentally, like probably just all darkness all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's when we started to kind of have to make changes in our household and mentally. And sometimes that involves medication. Mm-hmm. But since February of 2024, I haven't taken a single one.
Why did you make the change?
Well, again, this is just me, not everyone, but my depression was based on my anxiety from the future and my depression from the past. And someone just said that to me just recently, and I got offended. And I was like, but why? You did.
I know.
You said that Monday.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down, and I was like, why am I getting offended by this? Because I realized that what you just said is my oldest. You offended me because it brought out something of one of the kids. And before this, I was listening to my husband's podcast with you. Mm-hmm. And not only have we had a journey in mental health with him, but we've had a kiddo that had PRTF, which is a residential mental health treatment stay, for 5 months. And that was the year before I had met you. So when I say that I had wished we had met you sooner, like, do you take a whole family? Like, is that a thing? And now if she's having a really emotional day, I'll just turn on one of the coaching calls. Or just start scrolling through your TikTok. And she's like, I'll listen. And she knows that on the other end of that is unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
So even the kids have enjoyed, and that's one of the reasons why we came out to see you, was because we wanted kids build connection when they see faces of people, not just on a screen.
Yeah.
So building that connection and having very strict boundaries with the kids, that I said this in a coaching call, if you give me an hour, I'll give you the rest of the day. And I still stand by that. Even if that means I'm not on a coaching call, even though that means I'm journaling or I'm doing something of a reset.
So when you say that, do you mean if they give you an hour for yourself, for them, so they give you time to be able to take care of Savannah, to take care of yourself?
Mm-hmm. And that no longer just means the gym. That could mean meal prep.
Yeah.
My oldest and I just meal prepped a bunch of protein balls. They were not excited for it until they tried it, because teaching them that everything is good in moderation.
Yeah.
So the advice that you've given has removed me from the couch. I'm no longer a couch parent or a couch potato, as some would say. But I think that brings out my flaws in my parenting.
You're self-aware.
Yeah, because now, well, if coach can call her out, maybe I can too. And now the kids are even getting more comfortable with calling me like, Mom, I don't like that. I'm like, fine. So knowing that it's not just about having the gym membership. Mm-hmm. Like, having a coach is great, but if you're just leaving him on red and not showing up, is it going to, are you putting in are you getting out what you're putting in or what he's putting in?
So I want to talk about that. So I think every coaching program out there, whether it's fitness, nutrition, accountability, mindset, whatever it is, I think every single program, a while back, I was headed to an event. The very first event that I went to for my coaching program that I am in. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, this better be worth it. And then I stopped myself and I asked myself, I'm like, of course it's worth it. Is it the real question that I had to ask myself was, am I going to make sure that I am worth it? So it's not an investment in how much you're paying for the program. It's an investment in like, are you going to get everything out of it? Because if you focus on paying attention and then implementing and then doing it, anything and everything can be a coaching program. Anything and anyone can be a mentor. But it's just about how much are you willing to invest in yourself? Time. It's all about time, right? And when you take the time to decide what you're going to do with your time, and you realize that if you listen and you implement and you make changes, not only is it worth it, but it actually pays back tenfold. So the fact that like you not only show up to the coaching calls, but then you listen, you pay attention, you take notes, and you implement, that's the most valuable thing that you can do in any program. There's people that join my program and they do a paid in full, or they do the month to month and then they don't show up. And I do everything I can to inspire them, motivate them, hold them accountable. But the problem there is that it has to come from them. I don't need people to commit to doing everything. I just need people to commit to wanting to change. That's it. And something that I heard a long time ago was that you will tolerate what you don't hate. And to me, that means is that if you are okay with your current situation, maybe you're a little bit miserable, maybe you don't like it, maybe you know that you want better, but if you are tolerating it, if you are complacent, if you are just comfortable enough to where you know you want some changes, but it doesn't hurt bad enough, you won't make a change. But if you stop and you think about where you will be and you truly twist that knife into you of what is happening to you, and you think about where you will be in 4 or 5 months if you don't make a change, and you will really see what that pain will feel like. So that's something that I think that I've been doing a lot of, realizing where I have my shortcomings, the things that I need to work on. And I don't think about where I am presently. I don't think about where I am right now as far as the problems in my life, the fact that I need to get my schedule right, the fact that I just quit my job and I will financially be okay for the next 2 or 3 months. I think about where I'll be in 6 months if I don't make a change, where I will be struggling in a huge way if I don't make a change right now. So I can easily tell myself like I'm all right, but if I don't really like twist that pain, twist that knife into me and realize like if I don't make a change in 5, 6 months, what if I have to shut down my business? What if I have to get another job? What if I have to, downsize? What if I have to ask for a loan? Like those are the pains that I have to amplify right now before it gets there. And I think you do, Savannah, I think you do a very good job of understanding the gravity of the situation that you're in and how it needs to change, because you have kids. And it's not just about your kids. It's about who you are as an individual, a mom, the purpose that you have. And I know for a fact, because we've talked about this, that you're thinking about your future. You're thinking about what you want a year from now. And I think that makes people uncomfortable, because if they don't have the things in their life to change their circumstances, thinking about the future and planning for it causes what? Anxiety. Mm-hmm. But if you are actively working on it today and making every second count and every moment matter, I don't think there's anything wrong with thinking about the future that way. You just have to tell yourself what you are going to do now. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know what I want, and I know my value now. And I'm in a place now where I know if I keep showing up for myself and for the little community that I have, I know the payout is phenomenal. I just, again, with the anxiety, it goes back to gosh, I wish I would have met this person sooner. But even my husband said the other day, you wouldn't have listened to him. You weren't in that mind space to want to listen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's very true.
So talk about self-awareness. I want to get your thoughts on that. I talk a lot about self-awareness, and I think that people listen to that, and I think that what they hear is like, oh, I have to be honest with myself, and I have to like see where I'm at. But in my opinion, I believe self-awareness, it does start with being honest with yourself, but it also comes with understanding that you have it in you to make a change. So self-awareness is not just about being aware of the self and where you are currently at. I think self-awareness has to do with that, yes, but I also think it comes with realizing I am where I am because of the things that I've done, and this is my fault, and I am here. But on the back end, the second part of the self-awareness comes with also telling yourself, and that means that I can do something about it.
Yeah, I think when they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia, I think that was probably when I needed to start being more self-aware. I had no idea what this was. They just threw a pill bottle at me. I was like, cool, I'm not taking this. Something's got to change. And I think this is where kind of going back to like having a mentor helps. Because instead of throwing that pill bottle at me, they could have thrown a mentor at me.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, and kind of made me self-aware of how much liquor and soda we were buying in our house.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of doing like a personal inventory. And now I'm self-aware and I'm pissed. But I wasn't mad enough to change anything yet.
Yeah.
And then last year, I couldn't walk. I don't know. I didn't know what was wrong. And I went to the doctor and it said I weighed 187. Mm-hmm. And the doctor was like, you're obese. And I'm like, I know. And again, they were like, oh, we can give you this pill, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, thanks. I don't take medicine. And I went and got a gym membership that next day. Mm-hmm. But I still wasn't utilizing it. Mm-hmm. And people kept telling me, well, it starts in the kitchen. It starts in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And all I'd ever known how to cook was, now I'm really self-aware that I don't know how to cook very well. Or maybe I do, I just don't know how to cook the right things.
But that means what? That you can change.
Right, that I needed a coach. So all I knew was like hamburger helper, salad. Like for some reason I kept thinking like I just needed to eat salad. Mm-hmm. Salads are not all that great for you all the time. Good in moderations. But now here I am pissed off even more because now my kids are emotional eating as well. Mm-hmm. Now, not only do I have to change myself, but now I've got to change the dynamic that I've laid out in 5 kids. When we're happy, let's go eat a whole bag of chips. And so once December came, I fell off again. Last December, I was probably drinking a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper every day, which is a lot. And now I have like a Diet Coke a week. Still not great for you, but it gives me that little taste of what all that I gave up. So when I'm drinking that Dr. Pepper, or that Diet Coke, I'm self-aware of what all I gave up in doing that.
All right, let's stop for a minute. This is the part of the episode where I ask you to do me a favor. But it's not a favor for me. It's a favor for your fellow brothers and sisters that served with you. If you know someone that has been struggling, if you know someone that has been going through it right now, and you know that they want better for their life, they just don't know how to do it, please share this episode with them. It might just be exactly what they need. That's it. That's my only ask. If you want to subscribe, I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Back to the episode. I really believe that. So one of the questions I have in my application is, what are you doing right now to work on yourself? And the reason I have that in there is because I cannot help everyone. I cannot devote endless hours of trying to change someone's willingness to try. I need people to at least have decided that they want to make a change in their life. And that's something that took me a while to learn, because I do want to help everyone. I want to change the world. I want to change veteran culture. And I realized, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. But I realized about a year ago that I am losing energy, not necessarily even the right way, but I'm losing energy on people that don't want to change. So I started devoting myself to making sure that I was focusing on the people that wanted the most change. And you know this, like, you're in the academy and you realize that my main focus is on the people that want to make a change. I focus on every client that comes in the academy, absolutely. But the problem is that if I start devoting attention to the people that don't want it, then I am taking away from the people that are giving it their all. And when I say that, Savannah, what I do mean is that you are doing this with guidance, yes, but I want you to be very freaking proud of the fact that you have made these changes. These are permanent changes for you. I don't want people to stay in the academy because they need it. I want them to stay with VetRise Academy because they want it, because they see the value. They see the community. They see the fact that they can go to the gym, have a plan that was specifically made for them. They follow through with it. They do their check-in. They get the feedback video. And they're like, yes, this is freaking working. I'm doing it.
I think having the VetRise and the app, it also keeps me prompted. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about scheduling my own check-in. And there's no rescheduling that check-in for me anyways. Mm-hmm. There's no rescheduling it. I work my life around every other Saturday morning. Some people may laugh at me. That's fine. But I know by me working everything around, I know the results are going to be seen on Sunday. I know I'm going to see those results. And again, there was July to like September. I was kind of feeling like I wasn't getting those results. Mm-hmm. Those are what the check-ins are for, because you're seeing things from the other side of the coin when all I'm seeing is, oh, but I've been to the gym 5 days a week, but I'm not logging my protein. Now I'm getting called out for not logging my protein.
Yeah.
But when you say the want to be, I think a couple of us have said, if you give us a lifetime membership, we got it. We'll do it. And it's not because I want, it's not because I need it. It's because I know if something ever happens that turns my life upside down, this is the one steady thing that I have.
Oh man, thank you.
I'm telling you, like, I'll boost your ego real quick. But I don't think, I can't fathom enough how grateful I am, because if I was going the same way that I was last year, I'd be divorced by now. Yeah. In a heartbeat. And it's not because the love wasn't there, but we fell in love for toxic purposes.
Yeah.
And this year we fell in love with an entirely different person.
Oh man, I love that.
So VetRise has our support 100%.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Whew. So for everybody listening, I just want to give you guys a little bit of background on VetRise Academy, just so you guys have an idea of what Savannah is talking about. So in VetRise Academy, it's something I started 2 years ago, and I gave myself the timeline that I would quit my job within those 2 years, and I did just that. this week on Monday. And honestly, there's so much stuff happening that unless I stop and look at it, I can feel the same things that you're feeling, Savannah, of like, what am I doing? What's changing? What's not changing? But it applies to me too. I have to be self-aware. I have to realize that I did what I said I was going to do, and that builds confidence, the same thing that I tell you guys. And for everybody that joins, I give them everything that I can. I focus on you guys. This is it for me. Like, I honestly, for the past year specifically, I have felt like being a police officer was my part-time. It took away from what I was trying to do here with you guys, to be honest, which is why I committed to making sure that I was able to leave when I said I was going to. And of course, there is the voice in your head of, well, I wish, or maybe I should have, or this or that. But the thing is, like, living in the what if can either be what is possible, right? But it's also like, what if doesn't really serve you? Because only what you're doing, only what you are actively working on, only what you are completely committed to can really serve you and change you. If you're just interested in change, if you are curious about it, like, it won't do anything for you. It won't. You have to be committed to change. So again, you join the academy, you get a 16-week program. After that, we continue on a month-to-month basis, but we also now have a 24-week renewal as well as a 1-year renewal. The reason why I started everyone on a 16-week program is because it takes time to see the changes, but I also want you to commit to the program once you have seen that it's working. That's why I do not offer the 1-year join initially. There will be a Black Friday sale for everybody listening, for anyone that has thought about doing it or maybe wants to come back to the academy. Right now is the time to do it. But did you join? You get a 16-week program specifically customized for you: fitness, nutrition, accountability, and mindset. But honestly, the one thing that really has grown that I never really understood until recently is the community. Is the fact that people show up and they love being a part of something. I see people rocking the hoodies, the t-shirts. I see people wearing the Be Unrealistic shirt at the gym. And what it means to me, honestly, is that people have like bought into the idea. And when I say I buy in, I don't mean with their money, but with their belief system, the fact that they're changing their belief system. I want everyone to be unrealistic with their dreams. I want people to tell you that you're crazy. I want people to tell you, well, I could never do what you do. Because that fires me up when someone says that to me. And I am creating a culture that I want that to resonate with you guys as well. I want you to be fired up when people tell you that, oh, well, I could never do that. Is that something that you feel inside of you? Is that something that's happening?
Oh, yeah. Like, I wear this shirt. When I put this shirt on, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
I put on a mindset. So if I'm having a day where I'm just defeated, we're going to go with the shirt. Because I know that when I put this shirt on, read the shirt. Like, you see the shirt, be unrealistic. The unrealistic is I'm at the gym at 5 a.m. and I said I would never. You'd never catch me there. But, my advice to you is maybe you do your own questionnaire. Maybe when you start, now that you've started this 100%, do that questionnaire. And in 6 months, do it again.
Yeah.
And you've taken what you're giving us back to yourself. What are your goals for the next 2 weeks? You see how big your goals have gotten. Damn, I didn't think I could do that. Look, now it's here. You did it. Maybe the weight goal you put in coins. This is where I want it to go in coins.
Yeah.
Maybe you grow another platform. That's another goal. Don't forget to give yourself what you're giving everyone else.
Look at you coaching me over here.
I'm telling you.
I love it. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Sometimes as a coach, you have to not forget to check in, not just with your clients, but with your microphone.
Yeah. Mm.
But I've probably heard 20 times in the last week, I could never.
And how does that make you feel?
I love it. I love it because this morning, Steven sent me a text and said, "I'm so proud of you for going to the gym this early." I said, "You didn't believe I could, did you?" And he goes, "I didn't." I'm like, damn. Like that just boosted my ego for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But tomorrow they're closed. So tomorrow's still a workout. We're doing an in-home workout together.
Hell yeah.
Like we're going to be thankful that we have our fitness. Let's go.
Whew. I think that when you hold yourself responsible instead of the world, instead of circumstances, politics, the economy, anything, I think you take back all the power. I think that the longer you hold yourself in that victim mentality of life is unfair and this happened to me when I was little and I don't have the best job or anything really, I think the more you do that, the more power you are giving away. When you assign blame, you're giving away all your power. So that's why like responsibility is a huge factor of what I talk about and what I do. I know that I'm responsible for the growth of this program. I know that I'm responsible for my personal growth. I know that, which is why like I make the changes. This is not one-sided, right? So like you guys give me feedback, you guys tell me what you love, what you enjoy, and I actively make changes. But it's also individual, which means that like I know that I have to show up for you. Something that my business coach said to me, Brian Mark, he said that the business will never outgrow the psychology of the leader.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I have it written down right here. And it's true, because if I don't show up with energy and intensity and authenticity, you guys will pick up on that. You can't fake the funk. People love to say, well, just, fake it till you make it. However, I believe that doing the thing is doing the thing. I think that fake motivation is actually real motivation. I think that going to the gym, waking up early and telling yourself like, well, eventually this will be easier for me. And right now I'm just going through the motions. I think that is you doing the thing. I think that is like doing the work that you say you're going to do. You're already doing it. I don't think there is necessarily like a fake motivation. I think that it comes from you telling yourself that you want more, from you telling yourself that you expect more from yourself. And this is a moment of honesty and vulnerability for me, right? So like right now it is middle of the week, and this is day 2 for me of no longer being a police officer. And something that one of my coaches said to me, because I have coaches as well, is that you have to, and I have it written down on a Post-it note right here. And it says, you have to change your culture. Stop seeing yourself as a cop. You are a coach. You need to make sure you don't fucking miss. And I'm working on making sure that I change my internal culture. For the longest, this is a moment of vulnerability here, just work, because I had a deadline. I told myself, like, when I was working nights with the police, I have to leave the house at 5 p.m. no matter what. So that means that from wake up to going to the gym to like hopping on my workstation, I am working the entire day. And over the past 2 days, I've realized like that needs to change. It needs to change. I need to have time for myself. I need to be able to work smarter and harder at the same time, but in different ways, by using my time effectively and efficiently. So using time effectively to me means that you feel like you are effective with your time and you did something worthwhile. But using your time efficiently means getting so good at something that you actually lower the amount of time that it takes you to do it. You can work all day and think that you were effective, but unless you're working efficiently, you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. And that is just using your time to use your time. But like you said, you are getting better with your time. You're working on your morning routines, your nighttime routines. You just spent time making the protein balls, right, with your kids. I think that is efficient use of time. I think that is really what we're trying to create. I think that is the biggest change that you can make for yourself, realizing that like you have to be able to follow your own rules. You have to set boundaries. You have to have core principles and core values. And I think these are the things that people overlook. I think people think, well, I have to go to the gym. I have to eat healthy. I have to get 8 hours of sleep. But how do you do that? The how is the hard part.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
So hard.
So talk to me, Savannah, about some of the things that maybe I've taught you, or maybe you've developed on your own, or what some of the things that have been the biggest change for you as far as the how. Whether it could be about the gym or go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Well, before I answer that, I want to let you know that some of us never see you as a cop.
Good.
Some of us have only known you as a coach. So
Good.
That cop status has always been off.
Yeah.
So you've always been a coach to some people, never a cop. So just remember that when you're struggling with the balance, that some of us don't know cop. Some of us only know coach. So you're just doing what we all know all the time. But I hadn't only been to the gym before this week, 4 days in the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't more mad. I was wondering, like, why? Like, what put me in this slope? I was back to making excuses. So Monday, I started going to the gym at 5 a.m. and realized, wait a minute, I have a shitty bedtime routine. So I told everybody in the house, after 8:30, your dad is the only parent. I'm out. I'm unavailable. Unless it's an emergency and dad can't fix it, I'm unavailable. And I have stuck to that. It's been so hard because I love me some Netflix. But Netflix is a distraction to what I should be doing tomorrow morning.
Yes.
And I know everything is. So I made a promise to myself that last Friday and Saturday, I would stay up so late with my daughter that I know I would have to go to bed early Sunday. So I kind of like forced myself into that tired mode because my goal is 7 hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. Just because I do have kids that still wake up through the night randomly. I do have kids that just can't fall asleep on time. So 7 hours is my goal. Mm-hmm. But by time, so I used to get up at 6:30, get the kids up at 6:45, get all 5 kids to 2 different schools, and then go to the gym. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted by the time I get the third one up. Mm-hmm. So now I've wasted energy.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Mom, you've already been to the gym? Are you crazy? I said, I am. I said, I'm so crazy. I saw your principal. He was there too. And she was like, that makes perfect sense. But knowing like there's a whole different breed out at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And they're all cracked out on pre-workout and protein bars. And I'm like, but then I realized my breakfast nutrition probably needs to be my main focus. Mm-hmm. Not lunch, not dinner, breakfast.
Yeah.
Splitting it up into a pre-workout meal and a post-workout meal because I can't eat. The first thing I do is wake up. I can't eat. Well, I can. I have to. Mm-hmm. So I started leaving a protein bar in my car. And I go to the vending machine after the workout because they have a protein bar vending machine at the gym. Yeah. And I buy one for the next day and leave it in the car.
I love that.
That's awesome. I was like, this is genius because one, these bars are delicious and I can't find them anywhere but this vending machine. Mm-hmm. They're the first form 20 grams of protein bar and they're delicious. And that's what I have right after I'm done with my workout.
But you're lowering your action threshold.
Yeah. I was just on TikTok Live saying the same thing. And I said, wait a minute, let me write all this down because I don't want to get lost in being live. So I wrote down my morning routine. I wrote it down so much that I have a whole Canva of it now.
That's good.
My morning routine and my bedtime routine. And now I said, wait a minute, I could lower my action threshold if I had 5 kids doing chores every morning.
Yes.
So now I made chores.
Good.
And Steven's over there looking at me like, it took you long enough. And I said, wait a minute, now I can duplicate this one and make it the evening chore chart.
Yes.
And the kids are all looking at me like, thanks, JP. You're giving it. And I told him, I said, now we're going to throw in another rule. And realizing that if I didn't have rules for myself, how the hell are my kids going to listen to rules?
Right.
And I'm realizing that with one of them now. Like, I'm like, I don't have enough rules for that one because he's going to be the kid that finds all of my gray areas. So now I'm like, now I'm going to have to just, I don't want to say dumb it down, but we're really going to have to break it down.
Yeah.
So I did. And before they went to the pool, they all had a chore done.
You're doing something that you're investing, and it's going to pay dividends, not just for you, but for them. So like kids will catch more than what you try and teach them. So they see you prioritizing yourself. They see you eating healthier. They see you demanding, expecting, setting the standard for yourself, but also for them. And these are the things that they're going to like remember, right? So like when I was freaking 17 years old, I was smoking Marlboro Lights. Not because it's what I wanted, but because it's what I saw my dad smoking all the time. I remember going into every single job that I've ever had and working with everything that I had. And not because that's something that I like told myself I was going to do, but that's because what I saw my mom and my dad do. So you can catch good stuff and bad stuff, right? Because that's literally the thing that you are around for most of your life, most of your formative years. So the fact that like they see you being willing to wake up early, they're going to be able to do that as they get older without even realizing where they're like taking it from. And eventually they'll get to a place of self-awareness where they realize, well, it's because, you know, mom was able to do it. They're going to see and they're going to be able to look back and be like, well, you know, dad was able to do something that he never thought he could do. And now he's freaking doing it. Like I can do more.
Yeah. And
like,
I didn't grow up
parenting.
in a household of chores. I didn't load a dishwasher until I was like 20.
Yeah.
And when I say that to people, they look at me like, what was your mom doing? Everything. And she was drowning herself and me. And now I'm like, Mom, why didn't you just make me do it?
It's the old school mentality of like, to take care of my kids, I have to do everything for them. And honestly, like it creates a lot of negative habits without even realizing it. And then we pass it down. Like right now, you are healing a generational curse, whether you realize it or not. Like you're doing that, Savannah, and that's pretty freaking amazing.
I think it's easy for, you know, I try to stay away from people giving me parenting advice, but I want people to give me parenting perspectives.
Oh, wow.
Like, what if you tried this?
Yeah.
Because I took every single parenting class with my oldest that you could think of, and just it wasn't working. And I'm like looking at her and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then I was like, what's wrong with me? Obviously there was a lot of trauma that she had endured, but did I react to her trauma? Obviously I did, because I got the reaction that she needed. But instead of doing everything for them, they looked at me like, do you not love me? Why aren't you doing this for me? Because I wish somebody would have not done it for me. I was a married mom of 2 and still living with my mom. I love her to death, don't get me wrong. But I didn't know how to do my taxes. I didn't know how to pay my bills. I didn't even know I had a bill. And, you know, my daughter said, hey, Mom, my phone's due today. And I was like, what'd you do to earn it? She looks at me like, wait, what? So we had an agreement. She's like, I'll go sweep. But knowing that I never really had any consequences as a kid.
Yeah.
It was more like, just go to your best friend's house. But I watched my parents drown themselves in parenthood. And now they're empty nesters.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that when my kids see my husband and I from the outside looking in, that they're like, dude, they're having so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's easy to get lost in motherhood and fatherhood and say, well, they're only little ones. You're right. But just wait until they get to see you as little. I'm frail. I'm old. And then it's my turn to show them, like, right now I'm in the midst of motherhood between the ages of 7 and 12. I can't wait to be lost in the ages of 18 to 30. And then when these breakups and these friendships dissolve, and they're saying, Mom, how did you get through that? I could never do that. And showing them, like, my ex-husband and I just talked the other day. We didn't need to. We just did. Knowing that they're still human. And we can still be gentle with other people, even when they're not our people. So I'm back to being like forever grateful, because there was a video that you had done about yelling. And I'm a yelling parent. I'm loud all the time. And that's one of the reasons I went with you, because I know that, like, when my kids hear a loud voice, they're like, where are they at? Like, oh, it's Coach. He's on the fridge, stuck to the window, on Mom's ring light. And now you've caught their attention. And now they're listening to you. And they're like, Mom, is this Coach again? I think the only time they didn't listen to you was when you'd shaved your beard. They were just looking at you like, I just don't know how to take this, Mom. Like, don't let it happen again. And I'm like, this is out of my control. But this is why we started. This is one of the reasons why we had a meetup, because we wanted to build more than just.
Yeah, you guys made that happen.
Yeah. And we got another one coming up in a couple of days, meeting up with Eric.
Yeah. He's also a member of the VetRise Academy.
Yeah. And we've got a couple in Texas, and then we've got a couple in Missouri.
Yeah. And we're going to have one in August for everybody here.
I'm so excited. So, like, I was telling my parents, like, you have to take the kids for a couple of days in August. And, like, why? I was like, it's a surprise. Like, all right, whatever. Like, my husband was like, what about school? I'm like, they can miss a couple of days. Who cares? Like, this trumps everything, because I know the little that we give is a lot that we get in return. Like, there's no amount of money that could give me the knowledge that I have now. And when people say, oh, how much do you pay for that? I don't pay anything. It's investment.
I appreciate that.
So they send back laughing faces, because now I've been a smart ass about it. But I know I know what I put in, I got back a lifetime.
Yeah, I love that. I feel proud and happy and all sorts of emotions, knowing that, like, this is really helping you and your kids and Steven. And I remember thinking back when you guys made the trip out here this year, where it was my first time meeting any of my clients in person. And I remember the apprehension. I remember thinking about, how do I make sure that I deliver value? And I always want to deliver value. And sometimes the value can be online, doing the workout, meal prep, coaching calls, but it can also be this. It can also be the connection. And I think that is one of the most important things that I've been focusing on over the past year, is just trying to build more of that connection, more of that permanent change in someone's life. And that will never go away. Like, that will never stop being a focus of mine, because I see the value of it, because I'm a part of a community. I understand what it means to be able to feel like you are a part of something, not because you need it, but because you want it, not because without it you are nothing, but because you become more when you are a part of it. And I feel like that's something that we've been able to do here.
I think we got a lot of value, even outside of Stephen doing the podcast. Just looking around and seeing all of these different people from different walks of life sitting at one table and having one thing in common, and that was you. That we were all here for the same purpose. And then when we're planning these meetups now, we have a rule that because when we met up with you, we had done something we'd never done. We had never been to this restaurant. It was like a whole experience. Yeah. And now we're like, now we want to make sure we give that to our kids every time we do a meetup. So this weekend, our kids have never been to hibachi.
Nice.
So that's where I've never been. So that's where we're going.
I love that.
So making sure that we're giving entertainment inside of where we're at. And even though you're not there, you're the reason that we're there. Like, we would have never gone to Nebraska for a weekend unless we knew anybody. We would never go to Texas. And now we're going in Texas for a week in March. Wow. And he's job hunting too. That's while amazing. We're there.
I love that.
So it's more than just, we said we want to go wherever our community takes us. So there's people in Texas that are definitely now our friends. And when we came out to Chicago, then we went to Tennessee first. We went to Indiana. Like, we made it. And that's where that boundary really ticked off my parents, because they're like, well, I thought you were going to spend time with me. I was like, I've got a flock of people on my list right now. I spent a day with you. I'm going to spend a day in Tennessee, and I'm going to spend 2 days in Chicago. And now we're like, okay, today I'm going to print off a map. I'm going to put where everybody's at, and we can X off every state that we go into.
That's pretty cool.
But this is a little vacation for the kids, you know? Now we're not going because of palm trees and a beach. We're going because people. I mean, we go to Alaska for someone if, I don't know, but as long as the sun is up. But you've built more than a community.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think sometimes you have to like stop and take a look, and maybe doing that map might help you. Like, you've got these people from all over.
Yeah, I've actually been wanting to have a map with like thumbtacks where everybody's at.
And then, like, if you don't have anyone in Iowa, maybe our meetup is in Iowa. And I just posted on my personal Facebook that we're doing a mastermind class coming up, and I can't wait, because now I've met more new people that I can share this with, that they can see, like, if someone would have said a year ago how I got here today, I'd have laughed at them. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, no, I'm just going to laugh at myself for not believing them. But I definitely, going back to the way I grew up, to everyone looking in, I grew up, it's a silver spoon in my mouth. I was the only girl, and sometimes that spoon can lead you to giving that victim mentality. Oh, I was never taught as a child, or, oh, I never had that as a kid, or nobody showed me this. But now it's my job to show myself. So I do think when it comes to my weight, a lot of how I got there is because I didn't know what 80-20 was. I didn't know what moderation was. I was 15. If I wanted to eat a couple boxes of Little Debbie's, who cared? I was going to gymnastics later. I'm not going to gymnastics at 34. I don't have that. So learning that moderation at 15 could have helped me now. And now I remember I'm going to have a 15-year-old. So now I need to teach her moderation.
Yeah. How do you teach that moderation?
I'll be honest with you. I have these little mini plastic cups. My kids they love sweet tooths, which is fine. So we have mini chocolate cups, little shot glasses of chocolate pudding. They can put stickers on them. They can decorate them. They're theirs. And last night at dinner, my youngest said, "You forgot my protein ball." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't forget. I just wanted you to remind me." But I said, "Well, go get one." And I even have one that he likes to get hungry late. So I made collagen protein balls.
Nice.
Hopefully that'll help. And he's not waking up starving. So I think it's helping, but I don't think he really knows like what I've put in it. And I put in the vegan BPN protein powder. I'm officially out after 3 batches but teaching them the moderation, making the little mini cups.
Yeah.
So for Thanksgiving, we're doing like a little kid charcuterie board.
Nice. I love that.
I'm not doing the turkey potato. We're not doing potatoes. We're doing sweet potatoes. I'll eat a whole bag of potatoes. And potatoes are fine in moderation, but I'm not going to have any moderation and I'm going to eat the whole bag. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing cranberry sauce. I'm not doing stuffing. I don't find joy in those.
Yeah.
I actually find it like a bitch to cook them because I know I'm not going to eat them. Mm-hmm. So I typically make like a big breakfast. I meal prepped protein pancakes for the kids. And in theirs, I threw a little couple chocolate chips and they're not going to notice a difference. But teaching them the moderation of now my 7-year-old is saying, "Is this healthy? Is this healthy?" So now she's questioning. She said, "Mom, I thought we were going to make those healthy snacks." And I'm like, "I've just been called out by a 7-year-old. So we went to the store and we got everything to make the protein balls. And she said, "We're out. You got to make another batch."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Oh, okay." And she likes to have a little bit of everything on her plate. And when I grew up, it was to make sure you had like meat, starch, vegetable, fruit. You don't need all that shit on your plate all the time. Mm-hmm. But now she's like, "I'll take a couple strawberries. I'll take a yogurt." And then now she's starting to ask me like, "Is this dairy free?" I'm like, "Yes, it's dairy free." She's like, "Is this normal cheese or dairy free cheese?" And I'll explain to her like, "It doesn't matter. It's just cheese." Like, she's like, "Well, I don't want to get a stomach ache later." Like she's starting to be.
She's becoming more self-aware.
Yeah, she's becoming more self-aware.
Because she sees you taking care of yourself, so she wants to do that. That's beautiful. That's awesome.
And it's nice to see the youngest picking up. The oldest one, she's still like, just gives me a look like, "We're doing this again." I'm like, "We're doing this again." But I know it comes from a good place because she'll be like, "Do you want some help?" And I'm like, "I'd love some help." So I know it's easy to throw your kids a bag of Takis. And believe it, I do let her have Takis because everything is good in moderation.
Yes.
But I don't think Takis are good in moderation either.
I think that we can find something better that helps them.
I just quit buying them.
There you go. That's the solution.
I just started saying no because I know when I say yes to her once, I'm going to say yes to her 50 times.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "So why don't you just grab this instead?"
So you're setting the standard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she's the kid that's had to grow with me. I had her when I was 21.
Yeah.
I was still in my party era at 21.
Yeah.
So I was a little more self-aware when I'd first had her because I was homemaking her baby food. I didn't know what was in the jars. And we were kind of like making sure we only fed her age-appropriate stuff. And same with my second and same with my third. And then somewhere along the lines, the kids started bringing home things that their friends were learning. Oh, if their friends were doing it, I should be doing it too. I should not.
No.
And then, you know, when you're in survival mode, you talk about like being in that room and, you know, kind of having to be intentional with your time. I know that I was never intentional with my time when I was in that survival mode. But if I wasn't in that survival mode, I wouldn't be here now. And survival mode's okay to be in for a minute. Sometimes you need to be there. But if you stay too long, that hole gets really, really deep.
Damn.
I'm telling you, in another life, I was a therapist.
I love it. No, it's freaking amazing. I love it. I think what you're talking about is going to resonate with so many people. So I want to ask you if you could give advice to yourself when you were thinking about joining, or frame it this way. What would you say to someone who has 5 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, maybe is a single mom, or her husband constantly is working and she feels like right now is the time when she has to sacrifice herself? What would you say to her to help her like realize that right now is the time when she has to take care of herself? Maybe she's been thinking about joining the VetRise Academy. Maybe they have been thinking about working on themselves. Maybe she has been considering making a change in her life, but she keeps saying that, well, right now is just not the right time. What would be something that you would say to her to help her change her perspective?
I actually said this the other day. I asked somebody, do you invest in your kids' college? They said, yeah. But you don't get the payout right away, right? They're not going to go to college tomorrow, right? So why wouldn't you invest in yourself today? If you're going to invest in your kids' college and they're 2, why wouldn't you invest in yourself?
So it's a lot more about realizing that things do take time, but if you don't start now, when will you start? When will be the right time?
There's never, I don't feel like there's ever a right time.
No.
I feel like you said what you said based on how I needed to hear it. Because I deliberately remember the conversation. I said, but I'm a busy mom of 5. And you said, I'm going to stop you right there. They go to sleep, don't they? They go to school, don't they? Am I busy because I'm avoiding something, or am I busy because I'm busy? I'm not. I was never busy. All 5 kids are in school. And one of your mentors actually called me out on that the other day. They said, you're not busy.
Was it Cole?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was. He said, you're not busy. You got 8 to 3 Monday through Friday. What the F are you doing? I said, ouch. Ouch.
Yeah.
But I needed that ouch.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like I need to get the laundry done. I need to get the dishes done. I don't. A kid can do that because they live here too.
Yeah.
I'm busy for myself right now. But I know come February, it's an investment. I may not get the result in an hour. I may not get the result in a month. But I know I'll get the result 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Just think of it as a college tuition.
It's very true. Well, Savannah, I want to thank you for taking time to be with me and here and with us today. I want to end it with asking you, what are your final thoughts? What is something that you want to make sure you share with us today? For everybody listening on the podcast, for everyone that wants to apply, for everyone that wants to make a change in their life, for anyone that is going through it right now, that maybe is in a similar situation that you were in, what is something that you would like to share with everyone listening right now?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I think no one's going to find their answers on Facebook, TikTok. Instead of getting on TikTok and zombie scrolling, go on TikTok and type in the real Juan Perez and zombie scroll down that, because you may find yourself in the link because something pissed you off and you clicked, I got to talk to him. I've got to pick his brain now. Because the 50 endless TikToks that I got that month of December was more of a seek for help. I don't think he was genuinely sending me all 50 TikToks, but I do think that he was having a hard time. And instead of going to Google and finding what medication I could take for depression, go over to the TikTok. Go over to the Instagram. Because I don't, depression is based on the past, right? Anxiety is based on the future. Yeah. So are you taking medicine to get the past to disappear? Are you taking anxiety medicine for the future to disappear? Because those things aren't going to go away. Mm-hmm. They're just going to put you on airplane mode, and now you're just going to fly on through.
Wow.
So I don't want to just be on airplane mode. And I know the last 3 weeks have been rough. But I needed that rough to wake me up to go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Because I just messaged somebody today and said, I don't think I'll ever be able to say grateful enough for the fact that he just gave my kids back 4 hours. They're not even awake yet. And I'm already home, ate breakfast, back on the treadmill again. And I just got back 4 hours. I don't have to prep my breakfast. I don't have to prep my pre-workout. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to do cardio because it's already done before they get up. So giving that early bedtime of an hour and a half just gave me 4 hours back in the morning. I don't think you realize the work you do, and no testimonial video will be able to give you that. It's conversations like these that will give you that.
I really appreciate that. So much more than you know. And you're right. Sometimes it's hard to see the results because you don't see them immediately. It takes time. And I really, really appreciate you saying that. So Savannah, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time with us. I know that this is something we've been talking about doing for a while, and we finally made it happen. And I think it was absolutely amazing. So for anybody listening, I'm going to go ahead and put all of Savannah's socials in the comments below. Go and check her out, give her a follow. And I did see that on your Instagram page, you have me in there in your bio and then my link to my application. So you can go ahead and click on that link and let me know that you are applying because of this episode, because of Savannah. And that's going to wrap up today. Thank you so much, Savannah. I appreciate your time. You did absolutely amazing. If you guys are watching this or listening to this episode, please do me a favor and go and shoot Savannah a message on social, and I will put her socials below. Savannah, what's your Instagram handle, just so everyone can find you easily?
So it's sav.in, my fitness era.
Yeah.
And then TikTok is Fit and Fierce with 5.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Savannah, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you. Is there anything else before we sign off here?
I think that's it.
Beautiful. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the VetRise podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do me a favor and comment, review, rate the podcast so other people can hear it and find it as well. And if you are interested in joining the VetRise Academy, right now is the right time to do it. We are doing a Black Friday sale, which I will be posting on social media later on this week, and it will run for an entire week. Again, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you. That's going to be it, and adios. Bye, everybody. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the VetRise podcast. If today's episode inspired you, made you think, or simply gave you hope, I have a small favor to ask. Share it with just one veteran or someone you think could benefit from my message. Your share could light a spark for them. You don't know who you might save. For more insights and to join our mission, follow my socials at JP the Veteran Coach and explore how we can rise together. Thank you for joining us, for being part of this journey, and for believing in the power of rising together. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep rising, and never forget that we are stronger together. My name is Juan Perez, and thank you for your time.